I'm just gonna pick up on Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm assuming you watched the first chunk of that video, so I'm just gonna keep going here. So, once upon a time, there's a kid named Jack. He's mostly okay. He's a typical, he's a kid. He's fine. So, he lives with his mother, and they have this cow in a farm. There's a drought. It's very sad. Now, in some stories, there's a magic enchanted harp that sings over the valley that they live in, and the harp's been kidnapped. That's not the case in most stories. In most stories, it's a kid named Jack and his mom and the cow. And there's a drought, and they're really poor. So the mom was like, okay, I need you to take Bessie the cow to market and sell her. We can get some food, we get some money, get some food. Well, we should be okay, at least until it rains. And Jack's like, sounds like a plan. So he goes off to market. And he sees this guy, and this guy's like, are you selling the cow? And Jack's like, yeah. I'm selling the cow to buy food for me and my mom. And the old guy's like, swell. Do you want some magic beans? And Jack's like, what? And the guy says, magic beans. They will help you. They will grow in moonlight and bring you to a world of enchantment. And Jack's like, that sounds like the best deal ever. And trades the cow for the magic beans. And he's all happy and skippy. And he's like, Mom, I got us a ticket to the land of adventure. I got these beans. And the mom's like, you sold the cow for 3 beans? How are we supposed to eat that? That's like a bean and a half. This is stupid. You're an idiot. And she throws the beans and they fall in a crack in the floor. And Jack's like, no, the beans. But it's too late. They're gone. And Jack's like, well, great. Great. Or she throws them outside the window. There's different. Again. Crack in the floor is a better story, but outside the window is also pretty good. Well, in the middle of the night, the moon shines on the beans, and this giant beanstalk grows right next to the house. So I guess outside the window is a better story, isn't it? So this giant beanstalk pops up, and everyone's like, what is this? And Jack's like, my ticket to adventure. His mom's not awake yet because she's had a rough day. She's crying. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. We're going to starve. Which is fair. It's a fair bit of concern that she's feeling right now. So Jack's like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. So he climbs up the beanstalk. This is my climbing face. He gets there and discovers there's a world where everything is a lot bigger than he is. And he's like, weird. This is cool. So he gets into, and he sees this giant house, this castle, and he's like, I'm gonna go explore that, because obviously the person in charge has to live there. So he goes in, and he sees this giant lady, and he's like, hi, I'm really hungry. And she's like, yeah, you look really hungry. Would you like some food? And she's actually a very kind and caring lady, and she's like, all right, here. So she fixes him dinner, and gets him all taken care of, and she's like, but you can't stay for very long. He's like, what? She's like, well, here, you have to go, because my husband's coming home soon, and he eats humans. And Jack's like, what? She's like, well, I don't. Plus, I had a meal, like, yesterday, so I'm good. But, yeah, you want to go. You want to go. And Jack's like, okay. And so he's getting ready to leave. He's got some food for his mom. He's doing well. So he's going to go. He's going to leave. And he hears this knocking. He hears this sound on the door. And the wife is like, he's home. Okay, quick, hide. So she takes Jack and puts him in the treasure room. And Jack's like, oh my gosh, this could be the answer to all of my problems. And he's a little guilty because I doesn't want to rob from this nice lady who just helped him. But at the same time, like, he's starving. So is his mom. So he's kind of like, so he's hiding in the treasure room, and which is right outside the kitchen, because obviously. And he hears this guy go, fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. And then he hears the giant lady go, you're so silly, that's leftover human from last week. It's fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, oh, my sniffer must be busted. So the giant and his wife have dinner, and then they leave. And the giant decides he's going to count his treasure. So he pulls a bunch of money onto the kitchen table, and he's counting his money. And Jack's watching from where he's hiding in the treasure room. Like, I just want like a handful. And then he sees the giant has this goose. This gold goose that lays eggs. And the eggs are golden. Solid gold. And he's like, oh my gosh, if I could just get that goose. I don't need to take any money. I just need the goose. Just the goose. I'll be good. So he goes and grabs the goose. And as he's grabbing the goose, so the giant's asleep. So Jack sneaks over to the table and grabs the goose and starts to run. And the goose is kind of panicked because he's not used to being picked up. And he's like, honk, honk, honk. And the giant wakes up and he's like, my goose! And starts to give chase. So Jack runs and runs down the beanstalk. And the giant is like, I'm gonna kill you, you goose snapper. And Jack runs into the farmhouse, hands his mom this goose, and he's like, here, take this. And the mom's like, what? And he's like, where's the axe? And it's by the house. And so he goes and takes the axe and starts to cut the beanstalk, and the giant's coming down real fast, and he slices the beanstalk in half, and it falls, and the giant lands with a plop in the field and dies. And Jack's like, I'm really sorry, giant lady, I didn't mean to kill your husband, but he was trying to squash me, so sorry. Now, there's different versions of this, and then Jack and his mom, their money problems were over because they got a goose that lays gold eggs, so hooray! Now, in some stories, there's two different things that happen. In some stories, he goes up for 3 days and steals things like in chunks and makes friends with a giant lady, and she's like, oh, you're such a nice little human. And so he steals the golden goose, and then he goes back and he steals this magical singing golden harp, and the harp is like, just starts to go, I'm being stolen, help! And that's what wakes up the giant. And in some stories, he's trying to steal the harp back for the people of the valley, and that doesn't go well, so it all kind of depends on which one you're looking at. That's the Cav version. I like the squawking goose being the downfall. I think that's delightful. So yeah, that's the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. I hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day. Cav out.